and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait. Order today.
If you're looking to stay hydrated this summer, turn toward a southern favorite, sweet South Carolina watermelons. One slice is equivalent to a glass of water and is just as effective as sports drinks for hydration. If you don't believe us, you can ask the Palmetto State's top football teams. The SC Watermelon Association will be serving up slices after summer practice to keep our teams fueled and hydrated. Visit scwatermelon.org for all the details and look for ripe South Carolina watermelons in your hometown.
Say again. I bet you did. Yeah. Well, if you only knew what went on behind the scenes here on Sports Talk, you'd have had a good laugh. I didn't realize that I had disconnected, and I heard Chris drop as he was talking about the Virginia situation and trying to be the professional and not indicate to the listeners that we had somebody drop. I picked it up immediately and started talking about it, and then went on talking about other things, waiting for Chris to come back to us. And I'm just talking away, not realizing that it was me who dropped. My connection dropped. I'm talking about the coach in Miami resigning, and I'm talking about the starting pitchers for tomorrow. I guess I should give those again. Since did you mention the starters for tomorrow?
I did not. I'm just fascinated. I hate we miss Corn After Dark.
I'm telling you,
sure, it was terrific.
It was not great radio because I kept, looking, and I did not see the notes that Pat was typing to me. Corn, we can't hear you. Corn, your lips are moving, but we can't hear you. So you can see me on the screen. My lips are moving, but there's nothing going down the line. Anyway, holy cow, just typical of my day. Just to show you how my day's been. Of course, I had a really good ride down here, no problem. Really good ride down here. And I get here.
How did you go from Columbia?
I went 26 to 95 to around 295 around Jacksonville to 10 to 301, 301 to 24, gotcha. 24 into Gainesville. So I got here in time for, I caught the Florida press conference in progress. And so I walk in, and they were very nice. I was the only South Carolina person there at that point. And I walk in, and one of their pitchers is in the process of being questioned by the media. And I hear the question. I thought maybe I misunderstood. I misunderstood the whole thing. I thought I heard one of the reporters ask the guy about starting on Friday. And turns out it was not Sproat that they were talking to. It was Waldrop, their number 2 starter, Hurston Waldrop, I think it is. And so I took that as he was going to be the starter Friday, not having really reviewed anything, looked into the numbers, noticed anything else. And so I tweeted that out. Didn't ask anybody for confirmation. I thought I heard what I heard. And so I tweeted that out. And, of course, at the same time, having Kevin O'Sullivan had come in earlier and had told the Florida media what the rotation was going to be. So those guys had tweeted out something totally different, that Sproat was starting, and I tweeted out that. And, of course, on Twitter, if you ever make a mistake, if you ever, have a typo or an error in fact, you're the dumbest thing that ever walked the earth, because nobody else on Twitter who follows you has ever made a mistake, has ever misspoke, has ever had a typo, has ever given out wrong information. I know every one of those people who comment when you make a mistake, every single one of them has never made a mistake in his or her life. I understand that. I take that with the knives in my back. So, but anyway, that's been part of my day. And then we had this situation where I thought it was you who dropped, but it was me who dropped, and I was waiting for you to come back. So you were talking about Virginia and the air situation there. I get that. They got some issues. We got some issues here, perhaps, with the weather and thunderstorms and stuff like that. As far as the starters, it'll be James Hicks for the Gamecocks. As I said to myself a few minutes ago, James Hicks been pitching very well of late for the Gamecocks. Last 2 outings, he's not given up a run. He's 8-1 with a 3.32 ERA, and he'll oppose Brandon Sproat, 7-4, 4.70 ERA. And, of course, he is their top dog. He's been their number one guy pretty much all season long. And in the series in Columbia earlier this year when the Gamecocks swept, Sproat went 5 2/3, gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs. He walked 3, and he struck out 8. And something else I think I said to myself was the fact that in that series in Columbia that the Gamecocks swept, they did a good job offensively. They were really grinding at the plate, very patient. They drew 26 walks, Chris, and I can't remember if we talked about this or not before I went away. But you're not going to see 26 walks coming off this Florida staff this weekend. And the Gamecocks are going to have to hit the ball, put it in play, and hope that they can get some to fall in there, maybe hit some out of the ballpark.
You wouldn't think you'd draw that many walks, but Carolina's been an awfully patient team. They're either one or the other. They either get a base hit or walk, or they obviously strike out. It seems like the majority of their outs have not been fly ball outs or ground ball outs. They've been strikeouts, but they're an aggressive team, aggressively patient. I think if that makes sense because of their ability to stand up there and take walks. They drew a tremendous amount of walks over the weekend of the regional. They didn't see quite the pitching they're going to get out of Florida this weekend. I would agree with you, and that's part of the reason they were able to break some of those games open in Columbia. But you never know, Phil. You start getting into some of that super regional pressure, and especially playing at home, knowing that everybody expects Florida to advance to the College World Series, maybe you start to tighten up a touch and you don't throw it as freely as I'm sure Kevin O'Sullivan would like to see out of his pitching staff. It is going to take a tremendous effort by USC to go down there and win 2 out of 3 against those guys, especially considering they've already won 3. I mean, had you told Mark Kingston he would have to beat Florida or could beat Florida 5 times during the season this year, I'm not sure he would have bought into that, but he certainly signed up for the opportunity. But beating a team as good as Florida 5 times during the regular season and in the postseason is going to take a tremendous effort from them, there's no doubt.
No question. It's going to be really, really tough. So I'll go back to what I said when you couldn't hear me and I was talking to myself, and I enjoyed telling myself this, that Miami's baseball coach is stepping down, Gino DeMar, after 5 years, a record of 168 and 86. He went to the tournament in all 4 years. The tournament was held during his time there. He's a former Hurricane himself, but I guess the feeling there was he wasn't doing enough. And, of course, this is Dan Radakovich, the AD. This has kind of got Jack Leggett kind of written all over it. I mean, Jack was taking Clemson to the regionals when he was at Clemson, but wasn't getting into supers and wasn't hosting regionals. And so they parted ways and brought in Monty Lee. And so now, Dan Radakovich, this sounds like a resignation the way DeMar has worded things. I don't think Radakovich has put out a statement that DeMar was fired or anything like that. So this is a guy that been part of the Miami baseball staff for 24 years and had 21 postseason appearances. They won 42 games this season, their most since 2016, and they hosted a regional in Coral Gables for a second straight year. But not enough. And so this will be one of the top jobs in the country, no doubt about it.
I did my woo when you said this has Jack Leggett written all over it. I kind of misconstrued your point. You were referencing the fact that Jack Leggett did a lot at Clemson, but just not quite enough. Not Leggett coming down to rejoin Dan Radakovich in Miami, which
no.
Amazing turn of events.
Not at all. No. What I'm saying was that I thought, and I guess I said this to myself a few minutes ago. See, I didn't agree when Radakovich made the decision to part ways with Jack Leggett. I thought Jack Leggett, a Hall of Fame coach, had deserved to go out on his own accord as long as the program was still nationally competitive. And I viewed it as being that way. Obviously, Radakovich, who makes the call, does not or did not at that time. And, you go back and you look at the years there under Jack. Let's see, his last year was 2016. And, he was taking the Tigers to regionals every year. They were having to travel there towards the end. The wins, the total number of wins were going down some. But I think my opinion is you live with a coach like that if you like him and he's done all these great things and you let him fix it. And Jack still had a lot of fire in the belly and a lot of coaching left in him. But Monty came in, and took them to regionals as well, but did not take that next step that they were looking for. We'll be back.
Is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here is tonight's forecast. Clear with a low dipping down to 59. Now tomorrow, absolutely gorgeous. Sunny skies, a high temperature topping out at 84. Much the same for Saturday, except we're even warmer with sunshine, 88 degrees the high temp. For Sunday, the clouds do roll in. We get a 40% chance of some afternoon storms, while our high remains in the upper 80s. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
I'm Jeremy Sweet from Sweet's Comfort Services. If you need service or a new system installed that meets the new SEER 2 requirements, you want someone properly qualified. We stand by our work and charge a fair price. We're a full-service HVAC company and customer satisfaction is a necessity. We even offer affordable preventative maintenance agreements and financing. We're online at sweethvac.com or call us at 8143. That's Sweet's Comfort Services, 331-8143.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting conservative Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh joined with the Supreme Court's liberals in affirming a lower court ruling that found a likely violation of the Voting Rights Act in an Alabama congressional map. The map had one majority black seat out of 7 congressional districts in a state where more than 1 in 4 residents is black. The case had been closely watched for its potential to weaken the voting rights law. Stocks rose just enough for Wall Street to barrel into a new bull market as the S&P 500 keeps rallying off its low from last autumn. The index rose 0.6% Thursday to carry it 20% above a bottom hit in October. That means Wall Street's main measure of health has climbed out of a painful bear market, which saw it just drop over 25% in roughly 9 months. This is SRN News.
Hi, I'm Karen Pickard.
And I'm Katie Griner.
Every Tuesday at 8:30 to 9 a.m., we'll be talking about issues that concern seniors and their families.
So join us right here on The Point Radio for the Positive Points on Aging, brought to you by Lexington.
No better time than summer to get out and enjoy South Carolina. And no better time than June to bring a new fur baby into the home. Hello, summer. Columbia's Animal Services offers wonderful pet adoptions in June. You can bring home your new puppy or kitty cat with the adoption fee discounted to $20 from the 20th through the 24th. Visit petfinder.com to choose your new friend. That's petfinder.com, and be kind to animals.
Hey, Kev here. One thing that's truly unique about The Point is you. We call our listeners the Point family. You've stayed so loyal. You've stayed so supportive. Thank you for that. We call The Point Columbia's local talk radio experience. We're community driven. We push hard for our advertising partners because they're mom and pop businesses, small business owners. People ask me all the time, how can we help you with The Point, Kev? Well, it's pretty simple. Support those who support us. If you hear an advertising partner here on The Point, use them. Support them. Brag to them that you're there because you trust The Point. If you're a local small business owner, I'd love to have you as part of our lineup. Give me a call. Tell me your story. I'll create a customized advertising package that fits your budget and your needs. Nothing corporate, nothing cookie cutter. Look, if you haven't tried radio, it does work, especially here at The Point. Give us an opportunity to share you with our Point family. Call me. 563-8558. That's 563-8558. Or email me directly, kev@makethepointradio.com. I sure hope we could partner up. Join The Point family.
The Dennis Prager Show weekdays at noon right here on The Point. Take time for a visit to PragerU. We'll tackle today's issues, interview intriguing newsmakers, do some teaching and some learning together on 100.7 The Point and MakeThePointRadio.com.
It's the Cigar Militia, Columbia's premium cigar store. It's that time of year. It's golf weather. Are you going golfing this weekend? Be the guy bringing the sticks, not the guy that borrows. Come by and refill your humidor or just pull off the interstate for a smoke and a cold beverage. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will help you. You can be a novice or a seasoned veteran. Our friendly staff will walk you through the humidor and answer your questions. We're at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard next to the Melting Pot.
Are you worn out from wall-to-wall political talk? Instead of hearing more about the stuff in Washington that's mostly out of your control, I'll give you the tools to actually take control of your money and your life. Dave Ramsey here. Join me right here on The Point. I'm live and taking your calls weekdays at 2 p.m. I'll teach you how to get on a written plan that actually works, get out of debt, and build wealth. Weekdays at 2 p.m. The Dave Ramsey Show at 100.7 The Point.
We are back on Sports Talk down here in Gainesville, Florida for the Super Regional beginning tomorrow between South Carolina and Florida. And we talked to Coach Eric Bakich of Clemson earlier in the week. And, of course, we're going to hear from the Gamecocks and the Gators tonight. And we thought tonight would be a good night as well to kind of wrap up the season with Coastal Carolina coach Gary Gilmore, who had for them a disappointing end to their regional with the loss to Duke on Monday night, preventing them from heading up into the smoky area of Charlottesville, Virginia for a super regional, something I'm sure he would have preferred to have done instead of being here talking with us tonight. But nonetheless, it's good to have the coach with us once again as he closes the book on what will be his next to last season as the coach of the Chanticleers. Coach, good evening. Welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Phil, I'm doing great. And, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. Love you and Chris to death, but I wish I was doing something else.
We certainly understand. Well, a couple of days removed from the end for you. How do you kind of summarize how it ended, and how do you reflect on the entire season?
Yeah, I mean, it was, the regional was kind of a microcosm of things that went on during our season. We when there were moments and times we pitched exceptionally well, and then we would have this just a hiccup, whether it would be an entire game or an inning here or an inning there, and you're like, wow, and know that people could score things with 3 outs, and you're just completely lost with it, and then you turn around and we had 3 starters go, into the 7th inning with no hitters, and so, it's just kind of different extremes of where we were and things like that. But, I just had dinner with, my guys that are out of eligibility that aren't coming back, and kind of saying a final goodbye to them. And we talked a lot, and it's, even they, we were asking them, going into the year, what their thoughts were. And, I told my wife we max win 20 games, and they were all like, Coach, we all thought we were going to be under 500. And I'm like, yeah, no, 100%, and, shoot, man, we started the year freshman behind the dish, freshman at third, freshman at short. We had a freshman on the mound. And just on and on and on. And, some of our returners, there were only 1 or 2 that had like established careers, so, we had some older guys have career years as well as the young players playing so good. And then, what derailed us at the end is just the 2 or 3 injuries, kind of like what South Carolina went through at a period of time was, you lose a Friday night guy and a Saturday night guy. Everyone else has to be so much better. And, we ended up taking 2 of our main key bullpen pieces and stretching them out over a month's time to make them quality starting guys. And, it made 2 other guys that really couldn't fill their role out of the bullpen is what it came down to. And, no fault to anyone or whatever, just one of those things that we weren't quite deep enough and this and that. But, the saving grace for me, depending on the draft, is, I got basically, 7 starters coming back, and, the best 6 or 7 of my pitchers are coming back. And, we, at this point in time, depending on what we lose, I feel like we have one of the better recruiting classes we've ever had walking in the door. So, I feel like there's a lot to be excited about and everything. And, our goal is to, hopefully be in a position for us to dogpile on our own field next year.
Sure. And I guess when you think about it, once you got deeper into your pitching, as you just touched on, like in the Sun Belt tournament, you had to go deep there. And I guess, kind of ran out of pitching, and maybe the same thing here with Duke. Duke hit a lot of home runs against you the other night, and maybe that's an indication of some things from a pitching standpoint. Do you, as you put this roster together for next year with the players you have coming back, are there a couple of other arms out there you think you can go and get, either through high school recruiting or through the portal, that you might be able to find that can help your team?
I tell you what, you and Chris willing to help me with a little NIL for about $100,000? There's a whole bunch of guys out there I can land. So, no, I mean, we're on some guys that just, that's part of what happened last year too. To be very honest with you, we got in the portal, and honestly, I can say this out in the open in the air. We offered 18 full scholarships. We didn't get a guy. We didn't get a guy. That wasn't, if you weren't doing that and adding on, and, it'd blow your mind who out there, you expect it from Power 5 people. It'd blow your mind the other people that have it, So, I think part of what I have to do this summer is, I as much as I hate it and, surely don't believe in it the way it's, I don't mind the kids getting money, but I like I've said on this show before, every one of them should get money, not just a handful. The scholarship thing is a joke. And, we have no choice but if we're going to try to remain competitive at all, we have to at least, come up with a sum of a certain amount of NIL money to keep our young players to, not necessarily to, attract a recruit, but, I'm more worried about, in all honesty, our young kids get poached, and it's hard, man, if you're a parent to, pay $20,000-$30,000 to go to Coastal because you're on a 30% scholarship, and you can go somewhere else free and make money on top of it, and it's out there, and it's semi. It's beyond the wild west at this point, guys. So I've been denying it to myself and to everything else or whatever, but I have to spend this summer. I have to try to get in there and find some of that stuff, because we honestly, we had 2 or 3 freshman All-Americans. I've got to do things, I don't have a choice, and in all honesty, they deserve stuff, at this point. So, we got a lot of work ahead of us, and this last year I may end up having to work harder than I've worked my whole career, but my goal is to do everything we can to see how far, hopefully Omaha, possibly a year down the road, but also to leave this program in the very best place it could humanly possibly be when I walk out. I want these guys to have every single thing they have to be able to be successful.
Sure.
Gary Gilmore, head baseball coach of Coastal Carolina, with us here tonight to wrap up the season, start looking forward to the offseason. And, Coach, that's what concerns me the most about your scenario, because you have a kid like Caden Bodine, who's a freshman. He was freshman of the year in the Sun Belt. I thought should have been most outstanding player in the regional, even though your squad didn't win it. I thought he had the best regional. And then you have Liam Doyle, who went out and pitched, had a no-hitter through 6 innings. You have a young man like Riley Eichhoff, who had a perfect game going through 6 innings. Is it more important to go out and add pieces or re-recruit your own pieces?
Chris, because the problem is that this is the problem you have. If you don't keep your own, for me to go out and find a Caden Bodine is going to cost me $250,000. That's what it's going to cost. Wow. We can all laugh about it, but that's what it costs on the open market. For a guy like that, he's an impactful, in the draft class, I had 2 or 3 guys call me the other day, I won't say who they were, but they're dudes, that determine guys' futures and different things. And heck, Bodine, he's going to be one of the top 2 catchers in the 25 class in the country, as far as the draft goes. And so, we rightfully so, we need to do everything we can by him. And, like I said, I had kind of fought against it and didn't want to do it. And, seriously contemplated hanging it up after this. But, honestly, that team I just coached was one of the most fun teams I've ever coached, because no one expected them to do anything. They were unbelievable at being attentive to learning and paying attention and doing every single thing you asked them to do as a coach. And, I'd love to give it a try one more time. And, heck, if it means I had to go out in the community and, hopefully energize some people to do some stuff for NIL money with our players, then, heck, I just have to encourage them to do so, and hopefully enough of them will do it.
On the flip side, in terms of upperclassmen who are actually leaving your program, I look at a guy like Peyton Eels, and you were very open about what he meant to your team this year. Actually said there was no way you would have gotten to a regional without him. Are there enough guys like that who are maybe playing at the lower level that could be impactful players for your team next year that you could add for a year, rent a player, if you will, to bring in a guy that could duplicate what Peyton Eels did for you this year?
That's the goal for us. The two or three spots that we feel like we really need a special skilled type player. And Peyton was incredible as a leadoff guy. I think 42 or 48 or 46 bases, whatever. I mean, one of the best base stealers in the country and one of the most proficient that I've ever coached. And, heck, I mean, defensively, he grew as a defender tremendously as well. So, absolutely. All of us, in the country, everybody's looking for, that fit piece at this point. We recruited really good with guys in the summer and fall, and now it's just, trying to figure out exactly what piece you've got to fill. Do you need one more arm? Do you need a foot speed guy? Do you need a power guy? Do you need, just kind of figuring out what that is? I mean, we're on some guys, and again, it just, just can we do enough to get a guy? So it's going to be, it's just going to be a whether we can't. I mean, last summer that part didn't, of established guys that you just kind of, know that walking in, you just put a uniform on them and they make you better, but also with the idea that you can continue to make them better as well. Those guys are, they're tough to find, and be able to afford without the extra monetary piece, it's difficult.
Couple more minutes with Gary Gilmore from Coastal Carolina. Aside from winning every game you play next year and shutting out every opponent that you face next year, I mean, going whatever that is, the 0.00 ERA and raising the trophy come next June 28th, 29th, something like that. What do you want to be like your last go around?
I just, I don't know that I want it to be any different than the other years. I just, I just want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the kids. I want to enjoy the experience. I mean, if we spend $10 million in NIL, it doesn't mean we're going to win the national championship. It doesn't mean we even going to win a regional. I think you see teams that spent well over $1 million in NIL money in different programs that didn't even get out of a regional. So, it's definitely not a guarantee that you move forward. So, I mean, for me, I take a lot of pride and joy in taking, a kid like Blake Barthel that nobody in the country wanted, and he's a freshman All-American third baseman. I mean, our guys developed him, and I mean, I take a lot of pride in that. Shoot, Caden Bodine, man, hell, he can get recruited by hardly anybody. So, I mean, I take a lot of pride in that. It's something we've been able to do in this program my whole career. My staff, they grind and teach, and, I get a tremendous amount of self-worth out of that. I mean, if we don't go to Omaha, so be it. I mean, I just want to really try hard to do the best we can possibly do, just like we do every single year. And, at the end of the day, I hope my kids stay healthy. I hope I stay healthy, and that, we can just have a great baseball season. And, if we're talented enough, we'll find a way to get ourselves where we need to be. And like this year, we were just a smidgen short, and, we were the same kind of just incremental piece last year, yet we had the pieces in the program they just didn't perform quite as well. Teddy Sharkey, man, he basically pitched like an All-American for us this year. 11 saves, 7 wins. I mean, he was everything to us at the back end of the game. Last year, and if he could have had last year, the way he did this year, I think that team goes to Omaha. That team was really good. We had 3 really good starters. Our number 3 starter last year is Virginia's number 1 starter this year. So, I mean, we were very good, and so, but we didn't have that piece at the back end. We just didn't have it. And, so all of it, you can ask every coach in the country, guys, all of it has to fit together, and they have to stay healthy. And, in all honesty, I mean, shoot, man, it's, I always felt like there was some form of divine intervention on our team in 2016. There has to be things that happen for teams like Coastal Carolina to get to Omaha. It just, they're going to be teams. I don't care what we do or how we do it. They're going to be teams more talented than us. We have to find ways to play better than them, and that's what you preach and teach. And when you do it, great things happen.
Well, I know you've been engrossed in your own program and trying to win a regional in advance. Maybe, I don't know how much you've been able to pay attention to the rest of the tournament. We're here in Gainesville for South Carolina and Florida. Any thoughts on that regional, super regional, and who might advance, or around the country? Who do you think might be hoisting the trophy here in a few weeks? Any thoughts based on what you know of the team still alive?
I mean, South Carolina is extremely dangerous, and I've watched them several times. I've watched Florida. That's going to be a very good series. Virginia and Duke. I mean, Duke went to Virginia and beat 3, so that's going to be an interesting series. You got Indiana State. I mean, you're like, man alive. Those guys. They obviously are doing. I only watched part of one of their games in the regional, and what I saw was very good. So they're obviously they're. They're kind of the Coastal Carolina of what's left in the field in my mind. Them maybe Oral Roberts, but it's they're a very talented team, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them get to Omaha. And what do you got? Stanford and Oregon, and those 2 teams are very good as well. LSU. What do you say about those guys? I think, well, then they got Kentucky. Is that who it is?
Yes.
LSU and Kentucky. Yeah, that's gonna. Both those teams are awful good. Kentucky's playing really good, so that's going to be an interesting series too. And Wake Forest. I don't know how. I'll be honest with you. We played them twice. I still don't know how in the world we beat them, but that has to be the best pitching staff collectively. I'm sure there are people out there who would argue with me or whatever, but in recent memory, that's the best pitching staff collectively I've ever seen. It is, when Louder pitches on Saturday, oh my heavens, man! It's like, huh? Are you kidding me? So, I can't remember the kid's name. That's their midweek guy. I'm telling you right now, 99% of colleges in the country, he pitches on Friday night, and he pitches on Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's 95 and as good a breaking ball as we've seen all year, and it seemed like that 90% strikes. It's like, I tell you what, Tom and I have been friends for a long time, and what he's put together there, I marvel at. I'll be honest with you, it's something to just be very appreciative of. I know he is, because that team he's put together. They do a little bit of everything, and the pitching is just insane. So it's going to take, in my mind, it's going to take someone to beat them on a Friday or a first game or something, and see how they react to getting popped in the chops one time, where it's like, oh crap, one more loss and we're done, how they react to it. I think somebody will. They may go through the whole thing and not lose the game, but I'll be honest with you. We played at their park. People think our park is the Homer Dome. Man, their place plays smaller than ours, and to have a 2.4 ERA, I think the piece that's so interesting to me that I don't know until I looked at it the other day. I've heard people talk about it, but the next best ERA in the country is a full point higher. The next one. Yeah, if I saw that correctly, like that's Tennessee's right. Like second.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like 2.4 something to 3.4 something. So
it's
I mean, when you put it in really that good. Regard, that it is really good. It is. So but a South Carolina or a Florida or LSU. I mean, all these teams. It only takes one of those guys who mentioned is baseball. All it takes is one of their pitchers to be just a slightly off their game. That's all it takes, and it'll be interesting to see. They've got probably at least in my mind, we haven't obviously played everybody. I've watched LSU several times. I think they have the most complete team, top to bottom, of all the things you need to be able to do, and especially the pitching's just whatever things they can't do, pitching covers it up.
It is always a pleasure to have you with us. You never fail to deliver, though you didn't break any national news tonight. I'm disappointed in you.
I didn't intend to do it the other day. I didn't intend for that to blow up on me. Okay, well, yeah. But I'll be honest with you. I'm glad. I'm kind of glad it's out there, and it's out there for Coach Snall as well. That and then everybody. I can enjoy it. I don't have to hide behind it, whatever. It's right out there. And, heck, I've led an incredibly blessed life being at USC Aiken those 10 years and being at Coastal Carolina for 28. I can't imagine my life in a different way, and the success we've been able to have and the lives that have touched me and me able to touch them. I mean, God's been extremely good to me, man. I'm really very, very appreciative of all of it, and and to all of these guys in the tournament left, I wish everybody good luck. I hope the best team, whoever that is, that plays the best all the way through, I wish them luck and hope that team wins.
Well, we wish you the best this offseason. We wish you the best of health and great reports from your doctor. And we look forward to another great year in 24 from you and the Chanticleers. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Coach.
I look forward to it. And I hope you plan, since I'm shutting it down, that you're going to come to Coastal 2 or 3 times and hang out with us and do your thing down here like you used to.
Sir. We're going to try and do that. All absolutely.
Right. That sounds awesome. All right.
Thank you so much. Take care. Okay. There you go. More. And he never fails to deliver when he joins us. I was him if he had Joe Moglia's number, if he needed somebody who could funnel some NIL money out there for him. I mean, just go over to Coach Moglia's office, knock on the door. Of course, maybe it's all tied up with the football side of things. Who knows? But anyway.
Perfect. I was going to say, perfect example of what he was talking about losing a top-flight player. The kid that he said, was a key cog to them on the mound last year is one of the aces for Virginia. He's talking about Nick Parker, who this season at UVA is 8-0 with a 3.78 ERA. He's got one complete game on the season. You can't tell me he wouldn't have made an impact against Duke this past weekend in the regional for them. That was probably the missing piece for them. Now he's pitching for an opportunity to go to Omaha for a team at Virginia. I mean, it's just that the margin for error in college baseball, because of how competitive everybody has gotten, is really razor thin, with 1 or 2 players making the difference.
And how about the Florida catcher, a former Coastal Carolina catcher, right? And he's a heck of a catcher.
Yeah, B.T. Riopelle was a huge impact for Coastal, and now it's doing the same thing for Florida.
Yeah, I tell you, that's what the Portal John has done. It's opened the doors for people to go to where they think the grass is greener. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I can certainly understand the frustration with a coach like Coach Gilmore, who develops these players that others didn't want coming out of high school, and they develop them, and then all of a sudden, poof, they take off and leave them high and dry. I can understand the frustration. We are going to hit the break here on Sports Talk. I hear the Steak Man producing up a storm, and we'll be back. Don't go away.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. Thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Schools across the U.S. East Coast canceled outdoor activities. Airline traffic slowed, and millions of Americans were urged to stay indoors as smoke from those Canadian wildfires drifted south, blanketing cities in thick yellow haze. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says smoke conditions should be easing by Friday.
The smoke models are not indicating another large plum over the city, so there's a chance for significant improvement by tomorrow morning and throughout the day tomorrow.
Meanwhile, in Canada, it remains unclear when more than 12,000 Canadians displaced by the fires will be able to return home. There have been no reports of injuries or deaths or damage to homes in Quebec, but no rain is expected until next week, and temperatures are expected to rise. President Biden and British Prime Minister Sunak deepened their partnership in key areas during talks in Washington. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
Topping the agenda was the Ukraine war, and both leaders expressed their ongoing commitment to help Ukraine against Russia's invasion.
Unwavering support for the people of Ukraine.
We will be here for as long as it takes.
The U.S. and U.K. are the two biggest donors to the Ukraine war effort. The President and Prime Minister also announced an agreement on a new Atlantic Declaration to boost economic cooperation between the two countries and address issues including emerging technologies. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Founder of the Christian Broadcasting Network and former presidential candidate Pat Robertson has died at the age of 93. The broadcaster started the famous 700 Club on television, as well as founding Regent University and the American Center for Law and Justice. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 168 points, the Nasdaq rose 133, the S&P advanced 26. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I'm Corey, and this is my story. I was going through some financial troubles paying off my credit cards. I was paying high interest rates, and it just wasn't getting any better. And I knew I had to do something. So my mom told me about Trinity, and so I decided to call. Trinity was able to do something that I couldn't. I'm paying off my debt. I'm saving thousands, and things are really looking up. I promise you guys, you will not regret it when you call Trinity, because it was such a relief and less stress in my life, and it was the best thing I could have done for myself, because once I called Trinity, they took care of me, and I felt such a relief, a weight off my shoulders. Trinity was great to work with. They wanted to help me. I love it.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
Free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
8,000.
The main suspect in the Natalie Holloway case has arrived in the U.S. after being extradited from Peru, where he's serving time for murder. Correspondent Shelley Adler reports.
Joran Vandersloot is wanted in the U.S. on one count each of extortion and wire fraud, the only charges to have ever linked the Dutch citizen to the disappearance of Natalie Holloway in Aruba in 2005. Holloway, who lived in suburban Birmingham, Alabama, was 18 when she vanished during a trip with classmates to Aruba. She was last seen leaving a bar with Vandersloot, who was a student at an international school on the island. Her body was never found. Vandersloot has been serving a 28-year sentence for the murder of a Peruvian woman. It was not immediately clear when he would make his first court appearance in the U.S. I'm Shelley Adler.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear with a low dipping down to 59. Now tomorrow, absolutely gorgeous. Sunny skies. 84. Much the same for Saturday, except we're even warmer with sunshine, 88-degree the high temp. For Sunday, the clouds do roll in. We get a 40% chance of some afternoon storms, while our high remains in the upper 80s. I'm Kevin Cohen with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107. The Point now.
No, number one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're rolling along here on a Thursday night from Gainesville, South Carolina, Florida tomorrow in the Super Regional. Looking forward to that. The guys will be hosting back in South Carolina tomorrow night because obviously the game's going to start at 6 o'clock. I can't be doing a broadcast over there while the game's going on, so I'll be doing drop-ins. But Chris and Smitty and the state man, Graham Pope, will hold it all together for you. We're going to give Pat Daniel the night off tomorrow so he can take off for a long weekend. Yeah, you know, we are benevolent dictators here on Sports Talk, so we're happy to do that for him.
When's the last time Pat had a night off? Christmas?
I'd have to think back about that. That's probably the last time. Couple of quick notes, and then Mike Morgan joins us here on Sports Talk. The USC men's basketball team going to take its first foreign trip since 2016 in August. They're going to the Bahamas, August 3 through 8. They'll play a pair of games against teams from Lithuania and Argentina, and they'll stay, of course, at the Atlantis Resort, and that's where the games will be played. They have a wonderful facility there at the Atlantis, as you can imagine. Do they play on carpet in that thing? I think it's a wooden floor. But anyway, a chance for some preseason hoops there for the Gamecocks. And, you know, Joe Girardi was offered the head coaching job at the University of Central Florida, but he decided not to take it. How about that? Be something to have him in college baseball. The finalists for the Golden Spikes Award, Dylan Cruz, LSU, Paul Skeens, LSU, and Jack Caglione from over at Florida. And the finalists for the Hauser Trophy, Caglione, Cruz, Skeens, Rhett Lauder from Wake Forest, your heard coach talking about that a moment ago, and J.J. Weatherholt from West Virginia. And let's see, J.C. Horn going to miss the rest of the OTAs with the Panthers. He's got an injury thing going on. It's an ankle and a foot injury. So he is going to be out for the rest of the OTAs. And with that, a man who never misses OTAs or a chance to be on Sports Talk for that matter, he is Mike Morgan. Morgan on the move. Right here on Sports Talk, and he is presented by Visionaire Solutions. No one else offers this. Based in South Carolina, Visionaire makes sure the air you breathe in every day is both healthy and safe. In fact, they need to go up to New York and help those poor folks out. Visionaire Purification makes sure your home is air pollution free. No more viruses, mold, bacteria, stale odors. They make sure your home is full of clean air. They also offer HVAC, duct cleaning, and sanitation as well. Keep you and your family safe and healthy. Simply call Visionaire Solutions today, 803-220-1811. That's 803-220-1811. All right, Mike joins us here in Gainesville. You've been here many times. You've seen the Gators and the Gamecocks a lot. You know these players. You know these coaches. What's your breakdown on this Super Regional that begins tomorrow night?
I think it's one of the top supers out there. It might actually turn out to be the best when it's all said and done. The way Carolina performed, and now that they're healthier going in, and I think Florida is as talented as any team left in the field. So you add all that up to the fact that the Gamecocks swept Florida. I think their most impressive weekend of the year. I have no doubt there will be some Gamecock fans that will be able to gobble up tickets. I know a couple of them that have. And I don't think that this is a Gamecock team that's going to be overcome by the crowd or anything else. I really think in super regional play, more important than home field, more important than any other storylines, more important than what you did the week before, it's all about winning game one. The winning percentage, if you win game one, it's about 80%. That's much stronger than it is in the regular season. But for whatever reason, in the Super, I think the pressure of falling behind 0-1 is just very, very difficult. So I would rather be up 1-0 on the road than down 0-1 at home, personally. And I think that first game and that first pitching matchup is going to be critical.
No question about that. You know, we talk so much, too, about the starters for the Gators, and they're pretty solid in their starting three. They've had the same starting three all season long, in Caglione and Waldrop and Sproat will start tomorrow night. What about on the back end, the closer, Brandon Neely, with 12 saves? Is he like his guys ahead of him? Is he a guy that stands there and throws heat? I see he's got 61 strikeouts and 44.2 innings, so my guess is yes, he's another one of those hard throwers.
Yeah, he is. And you know, Florida and Vanderbilt, who I just had getting upset by Oregon in the regional, those programs always seem to be stockpiled with power arms, not only in their rotation, but in the back end of the bullpen. And that's no different with Neely and Florida this year. But look, if you've gone through the gauntlet, if you've gone through 30 SEC games, or 29 as it were for the Gamecocks, you're not going to be overwhelmed by guys that throw 96 because you've seen it. You've seen it. You've lived it. So they're certainly very talented on the mound. Florida is, but it's a Gamecock lineup that I don't think is going to be overmatched because I like the lineup. I like the lineup depth. I like the way they hit the ball in the regional. We're still trying to figure out how this new ballpark in Gainesville plays, but I don't think it is maybe as hitter-friendly as the last one, Old McKeithen Stadium. It's certainly not as hitter-friendly as Founders Park in Columbia, but make no mistake about it, both these teams can launch, and there will be home runs hit, and it's going to be a huge part of these games. You know, even if the pitchers dominate, you could pitch a dominating performance, go 7 innings, allow just 4 hits, but 2 of those hits are home runs, and all of a sudden you're on the short end of the stick. So the long ball will certainly be a factor, but sometimes, as we all know, this time of year, you have to be able to win a game when you don't hit the home run. And I think that'll be key, too. If you're just up there, you know, swinging for the fences every time out, you go up against great pitching and it's tough to barrel the baseball, then you got to be able to do other things well. You got to come up with a timely single where a guy goes the opposite way. And we might even see a bunt. You just never know. We don't see many of those anymore.
Yeah.
But, no, I think it's going to be a really, really good matchup.
Mike Morgan on the move with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Looking forward to the Super Regionals. And Mike, I brought this up during the first hour and didn't have an answer to the question, so I don't know anybody better plugged into college baseball than you, so I ask you. There are concerns about air quality, obviously, right now with the Canadian wildfires, and it has drifted as far as south as evidently Charlottesville, Virginia. And there was a story earlier today that it'll be an NCAA call as to whether or not they can play any games this weekend. Let's assume the worst for a moment. I mean, what would be the recourse if they could not play because the air quality is so bad in Charlottesville? Would they move that Super Regional? Would, as silly as this may sound, would UVA as the higher seed just automatically go to the World Series? I mean, what might happen? What's a backup plan in case of weather like that?
Yeah, where's Chad Shealy to clean that air up when you need him, right? He's not up. He's not up there. Let me answer the last part of your question first. The last part's not an option. I mean, you don't just automatically get to go. You'd have to, if it's determined. I mean, look, we've had super regionals because of rain that has gone as deep as Wednesday. which, as we all know, Omaha starts Friday. What they would do in that case is if you get delayed, or the later your finish is, usually the later they'll start you. So they'll start you in the second session in Omaha. But that's still a short turnaround to go from a super to Omaha that quickly. But yeah, if they have to do it, they would have to find another ballpark just in another area that doesn't have those type of conditions, just as they would if you had a hurricane or a tornado or anything else. We've seen it in football where teams have had to relocate games. The tricky part to all that is, because this is such an unusual thing, I don't know how you would project how long it's going to be there. So you're on the phone, and the NCAA reps, those guys that show up there with their badges and kind of walk around like Paul Blart, the mall cop, making sure everybody's in line. They're kind of in charge. They have the final say on all those things, not the coaches, not the athletic directors, and they would have to. That would rise to the level, in my opinion, that would rise to the level like they would have to call Indianapolis and maybe even get a superior to make that final call. Because if you make it and you're wrong, where the team could have played at home and then they lose, because that's going to lead to a whole lot of controversy and ill will.
We just had Gary Gilmore on from Coastal Carolina right before you jumped on board, and he was raving about Wake Forest. And he said if there's a better and more complete team in the country, he hasn't seen it this year. And he was just amazed by their staff ERA. Said it's one of the best pitching staffs he can possibly remember. They're below 3. First off, have you seen those guys play this season? And secondly, do you believe they are the odds-on favorite to win it all?
I've caught some of them on TV, yes. Look, here's one of my just theories on Omaha, having covered this event for quite some time. There's no question Wake is legit. I'm not going to take anything away from what they've done this year, and certainly what they did in the regional, which was a massacre of the other 3 teams in there. But if you've never been, and nobody on that roster has been, and all of a sudden you go to a super, you've never been, and then if you are fortunate enough to make it to Omaha and you've never been, that factor to me resonates. It is the teams that typically have the best success are teams that have been there before, teams that have learned from coming up just short in previous years, and then you finally get over the hump. It's rare to see a program that, let's face it, Wake Forest has not been overly relevant in the college baseball postseason landscape. It's rare for a team like that to go in year one, as talented as they are, as successful as they've been, and just kind of run the gamut and win all that. So I didn't see what the Vegas odds were, but no, they would not be my pick based on that. For no other reason, just the lack of experience.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with...
Excuse me, Phil. I just wanted to slide this, since Mike brought this up. I did see where Florida State had pretty good odds this weekend from Bet Online. That had to be a mistake, right?
I hope so. You could bet on them not making the NCAA tournament again.
And you'd cash in.
Phil, I couldn't resist.
No, that's great. That's great. Okay, now we're going to play quickly, Mike. We're going to play Mike Picks the Supers, because Mike's a super guy. So I'm going to give you the pairings.
Wow.
I'm going to give you the pairings, and you spit out the winner. Just spit out the winner. And while it's fresh on your mind, Alabama at Wake Forest.
Wake.
Ooh, I thought you'd go with the SEC. Good guy.
Nope.
Texas at Stanford.
Stanford.
Kentucky at LSU.
LSU.
Tennessee at Southern Miss.
Tennessee.
Real quick, do you think Tennessee should have been the host, or is Southern Miss worthy of hosting?
I am puzzled how Tennessee is not the host. Have you gotten a resolution on that?
Haven't really looked, but I'm puzzled.
I'm very puzzled by that, and surprised, and every other adjective you can think of.
Indiana State at TCU. Did you know that Larry Bird is the all-time leading hitter for Indiana State baseball from a batting average standpoint?
I do know he played. I've seen pictures of him. He was a first baseman.
He was one.
500 hitter.
He's a 500
that's about what he. That's about what he shot from the field, 50%, which is pretty darn good. I will go TCU.
Oral Roberts, Oregon.
I just had Oregon. I like that team. I like their coach. I'm taking the Ducks. First time they'll make it to Omaha since 1954.
Duke at Virginia, and nobody should take Duke lightly, as I think Chris mentioned earlier. They'd gone up to Virginia, or maybe it was Coach Gilmore said they'd gone up to Virginia and beat them. But also, I mean, Duke has been in. This is like their third super regional in the last few years. This is not uncharted territory for them. The World Series is, but not this.
Yeah, they got a good coach, Coach Pollard. I've had Duke in a super before. Let's take Duke in an upset there. Let's go with Duke.
Let's take the Dukies. And Gamecocks at Florida.
I'm going to go with, again, based on the philosophy that I've always had about if your guys have not been there before, I'm not picking you. But I do think this is essentially a coin toss super. I think it's going to be a 3-gamer. I think it's going to be one of the more competitive ones. But I'll give Florida the edge because many of those guys have been there before.
Indeed, they have. Thank you, sir.
Has.
Yes, absolutely. But Mark Kingston will tell you he's been to Omaha before himself as a player.
Well, he has. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And as an assistant coach, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he has. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, my man. Thank you. Have a
Put
great.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Phil Cornwood.
I'm going to smoke it right here when I'm done. I'm going to smoke it right here. We'll talk to you. Thank you.
You got it. Good luck to King and the Gamecocks. I think that'd be one heck of a story if they can break through.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Mike Morgan, brought to you by Visionaire Solutions. 803-220-1811. All right.
We retweeted it. Phil, did you see? I'm not making this up. Did you see the tweet? Actually, we retweeted it, so I'm sure you did. Bet Online actually had odds for Florida State to make the College World Series.
I know
like
the
50
guy.
to 1.
I mean, it was sent to me. I get their releases. I know the gentleman who puts that together. He sends us stuff all the time, and we appreciate it. And I wrote him back, and they just made a mistake, and they deleted it somehow, some way.
Okay.
They made a mistake on that. Maybe they confused him with somebody else, or just they made a mistake. So it happens. I don't think anybody walking this planet is absolutely 100% perfect.
No.
You know, people do make errors.
Hey, guys,
people need to be, if I may step on my pedestal here for a moment, people need to be more forgiving when people make honest mistakes.
Amen.
That's all I'm saying.
Amen.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pat.
Totally agree with you. First of all, that's a great point. I want to throw a hypothetical at you guys, mostly tongue-in-cheek, but back to Chris's question that he did then ask Mike about what would be a backup plan for UVA and Duke. Could we potentially see a repeat of 2021 when UVA hosted a super regional in Columbia at Founders Park?
You mean if they can't play?
If they can't play in Charlottesville, and now surely they wouldn't then go to Duke because then that would give Duke the advantage. What about a neutral site?
I don't know how bad it is in Virginia, but the Yankees played this afternoon, and they're playing another game tonight.
That's a good sign. Great sign.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a good sign. All right, let's hit our break, and we'll come back and give you the recruiting report for tonight. Then we got a little special guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. Then we'll hear from the combatants here in Gainesville, the Gamecocks, and the Gators have that for you coming up as well. Oh, we're going to update the golf scene. We got 2 tournaments we're watching, the RBC Canadian Open, and we've got the BMW Charity Pro-Am up in Greenville being played. So we'll be back after the break.
Major Downer here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is just around the corner. To make sure that your boat is ready, check your registration sticker and ensure it's current. Find your registration card, make sure your life jackets are in good shape, and check your fire extinguisher as well. For more information on boating or boat titling questions, visit dnr.sc.gov/boating.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
Summer weather has arrived in South Carolina, and you know what that means. Sweet, tasty South Carolina peaches are hitting shelves near you. Most people tend to think of Georgia as the peach state, but South Carolina is the East Coast's top producing peach state, so we know a thing or two about a great tasting peach. The next time you're in the grocery store or local farmer's market, keep an eye out for those sweet, tasty, certified SC peaches. Discover more about the tastier peach state at scpeach.org.
Have you turned on the fun? Try Cash Pop from the South Carolina Education Lottery. Pick one number from 1 to 15, win up to $2,500. Or play all 15 numbers, and you're guaranteed to win. Play twice a day to double your fun. It really is that easy. Visit sceducationlottery.com to get the details. Cash Pop. It's the light of the party.
We've got rates worth bragging about. Founders Federal Credit Union is offering our 12-month certificate at a 5.04% annual percentage yield, or APY, and our 12-month IRA certificate at a 5.30% APY. Don't miss this opportunity. A $500 deposit is all it takes to make these great rates work for you. Rates accurate as of June 1st, 2023. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/dividend-rates. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. Membership qualification required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, folks. This is Mike Morgan. I want to tell you about an exciting new product from my friends at Vision Air Solutions. Staying healthy in my line of work is so critical, and probably in yours as well. A large factor in all that is making sure we're breathing in healthy and safe air every day. That's where Vision Air Solutions comes in. They make sure your home has air purification for all the air pollution you can't see. Viruses, mold, bacteria, stale odors, cooking smells, and volatile organic compounds. They make sure your home is full of clean air and also offer HVAC duct cleaning and sanitation as well. Make sure you and your family are breathing clean air today by giving Vision Air Solutions a call today. 803-220-1811. That's 803-220-1811. Tell them Mike sent you.
It is time for the recruiting report here on Sports Talk. Our recruiting report is brought to you by the great folks at Seawells. The very best in the catering business awaits you at Seawells, where the Seawell family and staff can handle all your planning and catering needs at their facility on Rosewood Drive. Just give them a call at 803-771-7385 or check them out at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So tonight, talk to wide receiver Braylon Staley out of Aiken. He took an official visit to Clemson this past weekend. He really liked Clemson, and they liked him a lot, but they're only taking two receivers. And they took those two commitments from T.J. Moore and Bryant Wesco. So he realizes, as far as Clemson is concerned, he's out of luck. He had a great visit there, but he wasn't ready to commit. And basically they said the first two that jump on board will be the two they take, and he just wasn't ready to go that far. So he moves on. Miami this weekend, then Tennessee and North Carolina. Plans to announce on June 29th or 30th or early July. Running back Daniel Hill of Meridian, Mississippi, continues to call South Carolina his clear number one. He returns for his official on June 30th. He has Auburn this coming weekend, followed by Alabama. He'll take a weekend off before coming to USC. He was at LSU unofficially yesterday to watch camp and talk to their coaches, but still right now South Carolina is his clear favorite. The Gamecocks have also been recruiting Anthony Carey at running back, and he told us he's not yet set an official with the Gamecocks. Still trying to figure things out is how he put it. He'll visit Michigan State this weekend and then North Carolina. USC's in the top 6 with wide receiver Joseph McVay of Earl, Arkansas. The others are Penn State, UTSA, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and Tulane. USC commitment wide receiver Mazeo Bennett was at the Florida State campus for a 7-on-7 event earlier this week, maybe over the weekend. He said to a writer from Florida State covering the Seminoles that the Seminoles are still coming at him hard, but he is still committed to South Carolina. And we will have a couple of more recruiting notes when we come back from the break. Don't go away.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear with a low dipping down to 59. Now tomorrow, absolutely gorgeous. Sunny skies, a high temperature topping out at 84. Much the same for Saturday, except for even warmer with sunshine, 88 degree the high temp. For Sunday, the clouds do roll in. We get a 40% chance of some afternoon storms, while our high remains in the upper 80s. I'm Kevin Cohen with your on-point local weather.
Hey, honey, do you remember if Dad took his meds this morning?
You know, I'm not sure.
He isn't either. Keeping up with his meds is overwhelming.
You know, True Pharmacy medication showed me a sample, and it even separates them by date and time of day.
Something like that would be really helpful for Dad and for me.
Even better, it's free, just for being their customer. True Pharmacy, 1628 Charleston Highway and 3217 Devine Street, or TrueRxSC.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting nearly 24 teenagers from a summer camp were injured when an elevated walkway collapsed Thursday in a beachside city in Texas, with 5 flown to the hospital by helicopter. It happened Thursday afternoon in Surfside Beach, a small city on the Gulf of Mexico about 60 miles south of downtown Houston. Brazoria County officials said none of the injuries were expected to be life-threatening. All of the victims were between 14 and 18 years old and from the Bayou City Fellowship Summer Camp. Conservative Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh joined with the Supreme Court's liberals in affirming a lower court ruling that found a likely violation of the Voting Rights Act in an Alabama congressional map. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 168 points, the NASDAQ rose 133. More details at srnnews.com.
Father's Day in the Midlands. Time to celebrate Dad. And did you know it's actually a fact of life? Dads love Shooter's Choice, and dads love a new firearm for Father's Day. Yeah, I've talked to plenty of dads. In fact, I'm one myself. Dads do love Shooter's Choice. And through Father's Day, there's great deals on shotguns, rifles, even handguns. Great gifts like ammo, scopes, and accessories to put a smile on Dad's face. Uh-oh, after what? How about a Shooter's Choice gift card or a day at the range for you and Dad to bond together? Let the friendly and experienced experts at Shooter's Choice help you out. You know, they're actually hunters. They actually shoot. They're great folks working there. This is the time of year to get outdoors. This is the best time to think about the perfect gift for Dad, Father's Day. Hey, online, you can browse at ShootersChoiceSC.com or come on down to Shooter's Choice, Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. Make your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Are you worn out from wall-to-wall political talk? Instead of hearing more about the stuff in Washington that's mostly out of your control, I'll give you the tools to actually take control of your money and your life. Dave Ramsey here. Join me right here on The Point. I'm live and taking your calls weekdays at 2 p.m. I'll teach you how to get on a written plan that actually works, get out of debt, and build wealth. Weekdays at 2 p.m. The Dave Ramsey Show at 100.7 The Point.
Pardon me, ma'am. Are you interested in lowering your energy usage and saving money?
Make it quick.
Did you know that Dominion Energy offers heating and cooling rebates up to $750?
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. And it comes in handy if your system fails and you need a replacement.
Any restrictions?
For starters, your new equipment must be Energy Star qualified.
That's a good thing.
Go to DominionEnergySC.com and click Save Energy.
DominionEnergySC.com it is. Thanks for the tip.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, this is going. is a unique radio station. We don't have a bunch of huge corporate sponsors, and we're not local fire radio. We're a locally owned and locally operated station. In fact, we're a family. We think community first. We're all about local, local, local. And if you're a small business owner, well, it'd be my honor to sit down with you, talk about your business with the help of The Point. If you've never considered radio advertising, well, it works, especially talk radio. Our listeners trust us. They trust and they support our advertisers. You'd be surprised just how affordable running some ads on The Point can be. So let me put something together, a customized package that fits your needs, your budget. I'm not Kev. Call me 563-8558 or email me at kev@pointradio.com. 563-8558 or email us kev@pointradio.com. Let's sit down. Let's talk about partnering up. Let's talk about seeing if we can grow together.
I'm going to wrap up the recruiting report here with a couple of more notes. As we were hitting the break, I was talking about USC receiver commitment out of Greenville who was at Florida State. And while he was there at Florida State for a 7-on-7, he met with the coaches and obviously was on their campus. And he said that took a little tour of the facilities, and they showed him a lot of love. And he said they tell him, he said the coaches at Florida State tell him that the best in South Carolina come to Florida State. That's what they've been telling him. And he said they had 10 guys from South Carolina come to Florida State, and 8 went to the NFL. So they're telling him the best guys in South Carolina come to Florida State. But he said his commitment to South Carolina does remain strong. Clemson USC target Elijah Griffin was offered by Oregon. Safety wide receiver Miles Woods of Loganville, Georgia, committed to Coastal Carolina. Now time for the transfer portal John report. And that's brought to you by Dumpster Plus. Dumpster Plus, roll and Porta John in one. Locally Columbia. Give them a call at 803-500-5094. If transfer portal Johnson picks up, transfer right-hander Matthew Marshall, 6'3", 215, transferring from Wofford to Clemson. He was 10 points this season, 93 strikeouts in 92 and a third innings pitched. You might remember this week, Eric Backish told us the transfer, John, and see what they could find. So they pick up a hard-throwing, big right-hander, Matthew Marshall, from Wofford. Penn State basketball received a commitment from the portal John from North Carolina guard DeMarco Dunn. So he's going to Penn State. UC Riverside transfer Zion Pullen is headed to Florida. Pick them over LSU. Allegedly, guard portal. First team All Big West, 18 points, 4 rebounds per game last year. And SMU added former Houston and Miami quarterback De'Aaron King to its coaching staff as an offensive analyst. So that's really not a transfer portal. John, reason I my information thinking he was transferring somewhere else again. But he's going there as a coach. So we will cap things off. That is our transfer portal John report for tonight, part of our recruiting report, brought to you by Dumpster Plus Columbia at 803-500-5094. Before we hear from the baseball folks here in Gainesville, USC and Florida getting ready for tomorrow, special guest time here on Sports Talk. We love folks who are important to us here on Sports Talk and important to you around the state. We welcome in representing South Carolina peach farmers and part of the South Carolina Department of Agriculture, Blakely Atkinson, joining us here on Sports Talk to update us on the status of delicious South Carolina peaches here this summer. Blakely, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful now that peaches are in season. How are you?
Well, we're doing wonderful because we love peaches. We love peach ice cream. We love everything about peaches. Crop the state this year.
Well, the crop take a hard hard hit after that freeze in March. I'm sure that everyone here has felt the effects of that. But have no fear, peaches are in the store, so please go out and support your local farmers at roadside stands, farmers markets, grocery stores, wherever you're able, they're out there.
Are they plentiful and bountiful in all areas of the state that normally produce?
Everywhere. From the upstate to the low country, you can find peaches in the store. The freeze didn't hit too hard, and we really won't see the effects of that even later in the season. We'll have peaches as well.
Well, that's good news. You know, in South Carolina, we have the Gaffney area. We have the area there around Aiken, and up in Johnston and up in that area. And we have over in the McBee area as well, the PD. I guess those are the strongholds for growing peaches in our state.
Oh, the ridge, as we like to call it, McBee. There's some in York. We have them spread all over the state. On the ridge, there's probably about, I would say, close to 7,500 acres of peaches. So, I mean, we have got trees. So it's hard to not go to a farm stand throughout the state and find a peach, because it's, like I said, from up and down to the lower part of the state as well.
Do you have an idea in this time of inflation and everything else, food prices being up? Do you have any kind of feel yet, any kind of idea of how the prices are running on peaches across the state? Pretty normal, maybe a little up, maybe a little down. Any feel yet?
I honestly have not really gotten a strong feel yet. I do think that local, it's a little bit less expensive because it's easier, you know, with everything going on, to just try to support your local farmers. But I haven't gotten a true feel for what prices are looking like overall, but just be mindful that these growers are putting their hearts and soul into everything that they do, and to just do whatever you can to help.
So what's your favorite? You just like to play on peach, or with ice cream, or maybe you like peach cobbler? You have a favorite, or how do you like eating peaches?
Honestly, I'm a peach cobbler. I love cake, and anything that I can attempt to put in one dish is the way to go. But you know, a good, nice, soft, aromatic peach that just is straight out of the store. It's hard to beat that too. But you know, I'm not opposed to peach ice cream. A smoothie too. Oh, that's pretty good too. Yeah.
Cobbler now. I like anything with peaches, but I'm with you on the cobbler too. So, but you throw some peach ice cream on top of some hot peach cobbler. That's the best right there.
Honestly, you are not wrong at all.
Love that. Thank you for being with us, and we love what we're doing with peaches and watermelons here in South Carolina and the other crops, because South Carolina, you know, those of us live in the cities forget about what's happening out there in the rural area. That's where the food is grown. That's what we get in the grocery store. It's important that we remember those farmers out there all across the state of South Carolina, who they're really fighting it every day, aren't they, Blakely? Whether it's peach farmers, watermelon farmers, whatever the crop happens to be, those farmers are out there. They're fighting and clawing every day.
You are exactly right. They are working hard against weather, against circumstances, and you know what? They managed to somehow turn out a good crop that helps stay not only satisfied but healthy as well. Just like peaches, 60 calories, lots of vitamins and nutrients, and so it's really good in the position that I have. I'm able to speak directly with growers all the time, because they are what really matters. So encourage everyone that's listening. please go out and just thank a farmer and always the Taste Your Peach State, which is right here in South Carolina.
You got that right, my friend. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll talk to you again, I'm sure. But enjoy your summer. Enjoy your peaches.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Blakely Atkinson, what a great job. She's relatively new in her job over there at South Carolina Ag, handling peaches and watermelons and other aspects of farming life there. She did a fabulous job, Clemson graduate, and we thank her so much for joining us. Next time she calls in, and we're going to get her recipe. Got to get her recipe for peach. I bet you it's a good one because she said she likes to bake.
I'm homemade ice cream with the peaches. I'm 40 minutes from McLeod Farms over in McBee.
Oh.
And to me, I realize I'm biased being over here in the PD, but they are by far the best peaches in the state. So I'll slide over there and get me a case and bring them back here, and I'll carve some up and put them in ice cream. Oh,
that's
love
awesome.
Summertime with the peaches. Yeah,
that is awesome. Okay, press here, a little bit from the Gamecocks, a little bit from the Gators. We begin with the South Carolina. It was Mark Kingston, Will Dillis, and James Hicks visiting with the media. We begin with comments from Coach Mark Kingston of the Gamecocks.
Well, we're very happy to be here, but, we're not just happy to be here. We're here to compete. We want to do everything we can to try to come out of here with a chance to go to Omaha. But we also know we're playing one of the elite teams in the country, so we're going to have to be on top of our game. But we're going to enjoy the heck out of it and go out there and see what we can do.
Well, Florida's already announced, so you're not just starting pitchers this weekend. Do you know yet?
We'll go with Hicks tomorrow. He's been tremendous lately. He's pitching with a lot of confidence. He has very good stuff, very good command, and his presence out there on the mound has inspired a lot of confidence in the entire dugout. So we'll go with Hicks tomorrow.
So I want to just ask you about last year. Obviously, the season ended in the SEC tournament against Florida. What do you remember about that feeling after losing, and what does it mean to you to have an opportunity to go back out there and potentially end their season for a change?
Well, we deleted that file from our memories, so it's all about right now. I mean, with all due respect, it's all about right now. Last season motivated our guys very much. It started last summer. That's been well documented, but we're here in the now.
Will, you didn't get to play in that Florida series in April, but you got a former teammate on the other side starting this weekend. How much does that mean to you to maybe go against him for a trip to Omaha?
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll be happy to see Hurston, but when we play the game, you try and tune out any outside noise and try and not play emotional, just play with emotion and just focus on one pitch at a time. So I'll try and tune it out during the game, but it'll be good to see him.
Coach just mentioned you guys are focused on the now, but every day you guys show up to the ballpark, you see all those numbers in the outfield, the regionals, the Omaha appearances. To be back into this point, and even though you guys are focused on the now, how much does that motivate you, knowing the history of this program, knowing that there's so many fans that look forward to this time of the year, and you guys are here now?
You got it.
Yeah, it definitely is motivating knowing that this is a very storied program and a program that's been here before. But really, it's just a team that doesn't want to be done yet. And we come to work every day, and we just want to keep playing every day. So we're just focusing on what we can do each day to.
Coach, your team's ability to, take strikes, knowledge of the strike zone, is that something that's just innate, been hammered down over time?
Well, it's we in big time in our program. Our hitting coach, Monty Lee, has done a really nice job from day one, just stressing that as part of our identity, part of our foundation. But you also have to have the hitters that can carry it out. The greatest philosophies and the greatest theories on hitting and approach aren't any good if you don't have the right hitters. And we have the right hitters that can carry out a very disciplined approach.
How do you sense Ethan coming back to his home state, and positive, negative, or could he be too juiced up, or how do you view that? Those emotions? It's
all positive. He's very happy to be back in Florida, as is Gavin Casas. But it's all positive. Look, we're playing for a chance to go to Omaha. There's no negatives. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy this. We're going to play loose, and whatever happens from there happens.
Will, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Your first year in the program, what did you know, or what did you hear about Coach Kingston and how he handled himself just around the players in the dugout? And what have you seen from him over the course of the year in terms of, the camaraderie in there?
Yeah, I didn't know a whole lot. I just kind of watched South Carolina as a fan over the years. But Coach Kingston's really positive all the time, and I think he did a really good job with all the transfers and all the new guys that we have this year, just being embraced by the whole program and just setting a positive tone and really maintaining a steady presence through the whole season, through the ups and the downs.
And I would hope he'd answer that the same way if I wasn't sitting directly to his left.
And Mark, when y'all played Florida in Columbia, they walked 26. What do you recall about the approach for that weekend and the approach for this weekend? The same? Well,
I don't anticipate them doing that again. I don't think you can count on that. It's an elite pitching staff that we have a lot of respect for. They're going to come after us. They've got probably 3 first-rounders in their weekend rotation. So we're going to have to earn what we get. There's no question about it. I'm guessing when in their scouting report meetings, they're saying we're going to attack them. We've got to throw strikes. And so, look, it's about knowing what move you make. It's about trying to anticipate what move your opponent will make, and then it's just a back and forth strategy. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about pitchers making pitches, hitters having good approaches, and then see what happens.
All right, that's the view from the Gamecocks. Let's go over to the Florida side. Here is their highly successful head coach, former head coach at Presbyterian. I'm sorry. That was Corbin. I'm sorry. Former assistant coach at Clemson. Always get Sully and Corbin confused because of their ties to Jack Leggett. Former Clemson assistant coach, Kevin O'Sullivan.
Corbin and O'Sullivan? That's a heck of a run. No, you had it right. I was saying if O'Sullivan had coached at PC as well, that would have been a heck of a run for them.
No, I'm saying I get them confused because of their tie against Jack. I get everything confused these days. But anyway, Kevin O'Sullivan took questions from the Florida media about the matchup with the Gamecocks.
Yeah, that's Waldrop and Cags. I think the tricky thing is obviously you got to prepare for lightning and rain and stuff like that. So we took it light on Cags' pen today, just in case, worst case scenario, we got lightning or rain in the second game. We had to use Cags in that role. But yeah, we'll go back to that rotation. I think they would probably say the same thing about themselves. Yeah, we're different. We didn't have Neely that weekend, and we certainly are pitching at a different level than we were at that time of the year. I think we had 26 free passes that weekend, obviously. So, it's just it was just one of those weekends. They played better than we did, but I made it very clear to our team that this is not about redemption, about the weekend that we had and all that stuff. That's just all nonsense. We just got to play our brand of baseball and play our best, and hopefully the outcome is what we want. But that series, whether we had gone up there and won or not, has no bearing on the outcome of this weekend.
Have an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I don't care who you play. I mean, I'd rather be playing at home this time of the year than being on the road for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're excited. We know it's going to be an outstanding crowd. Obviously, the ticket sales kind of speak for themselves, so we're excited about it. And but we can't get caught up in the moment. We got to just play like we have been the last few weeks or really the whole year. I don't know how many series we lost. I think we lost 2 out of 16 series or something like that. So, I mean, we got to keep things in perspective and not get overly hyped, so to speak, and just kind of do our thing and try to stay in the moment the best we can. Well, it's better than the alternative, right? Bad starts. I mean, so yeah, we got some length to our pitching now. Being able to extend Neely, like we talked about at the SEC tournament, was big for us. It gives us another option there. He's just not a one-inning closer. Having Ryan come out of the pen twice and then give us a really good start on Monday was another role that he's been able to be able to prove that he can handle. Philip Abner has been a huge piece of our bullpen. Then obviously Kate Fisher and what he was able to do. So yeah, it was a lot of positives for last weekend that we can pull into this weekend, hopefully. But once again, last weekend's last weekend, so we got to do it again this weekend.
In terms of that,
yeah, I think right now we haven't really decided 100% yet, but it does seem like maybe third and left is a platoon situation, and we can go to the bench if we need to in certain spots during the game. If we feel that it's better to go to the bench at that point, we have other guys that can play defense. So yeah, it's probably going to be moving some different pieces around. Well, I think it's probably a combination of things, but probably more than anything else, it's a mental thing. It's about having confidence. It's about trusting your defense. It's it's just every team's going to go through their ups and downs, and we've talked about that numerous times. But we have turned the corner in terms of throwing strikes, which obviously has been a huge reason why we're sitting right here right now.
Okay, to do now is play ball. See out on top of this thing. Now, I will be there tomorrow dropping in reports on Sports Talk. It'll be tomorrow night. You'll have Chris, and you'll have Smitty, and you'll have Steakman, all back in South Carolina handling things. I'll do some drop-ins, and, of course, you can follow us with our coverage on Twitter at SportsTalkSC and post-game on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. The Canadian Open today, and we've got Aaron Ray as the leader, along with Justin Lower and Corey Connors and Chesson Hadley. They're all at 5 under, 67. How about Jonathan Bird? Where'd he come from? Where'd he fly in from? 4 under, 68 for JB. Bryce Garnett is at 4 under. Matt Fitzpatrick got a bunch at 4. Mark Hubbard, Ryan Gerard, Brendan Todd, S.H. Kim, Will Gordon, and Carl Wan, all at 4 under. Others, Lucas 3 under. Andrew Novak is at 3 under. Rory McIlroy, 1 under. Bill Haas is 1 under. Carson Young is at 1 under. Cameron Young is 1 under. Doc Redman is even. Scott Brown +1. Wesley Bryan +1. Ben Martin +2. Kyle Stanley +2. Tommy Gainey +4. Michael Block +5. And William McGirt +6. We also have the BMW Pro-Am, and they're playing that up in Greenville. So let me give you the how this thing looks at this point in time. They've got a variety of leaderboards here because you got amateurs, you got celebrities, and you got pros. Among the pros, Michael Fagels, who shot, he shot a 59 today. Michael Fagels, or is it Fagels? It could be either one. 12 under, 59. So he's a Mr. 59. How about that? And he shot that at Thornblade. 59 at Thornblade is playing some golf. Josh Teeter, playing Carolina Country Club. He shot 10 under, 62. David Skins, playing Thornblade. He shot 10 under, 61. Now, you might be saying, what's the deal here? Remember, now they're playing 2 different courses with 2 different pars. So a 10 under at one is a 61. A 10 under at the other is a 62. So, yeah, we got Logan McAllister at 9 under with a 62. And Logan McCracken at 8 under with a 64. So there you go with that. I do want to mention our good buddy, Pete Yanity. He's playing in the tournament as an amateur. And
is he now?
He is. He's in the tournament. He's an invited amateur in the tournament, and he shot a very crisp 88 today. So we wish him well.
Where did he play? Do we know?
I'm not going to laugh. I think he played Carolina Country Club.
Okay.
So I'm not going to laugh at an 88. I think an 88 is something to be proud of. So I'm not going to.
No.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to laugh at it. No, sir. I could have done better, but I wasn't invited to play. Let's see what else we got to tell you about here tonight. You have anything else that you wanted to pass along?
No, I think we're done at all. Shoot out of here a couple of minutes early.
Oh, well, I don't think we can do that. I think would get a little teed off. Let's do something else here. For you, we talked about the Miami coach walking out. We talked about Joe Girardi, Golden Spice. We did that. We talked about J.C. Horn. NASCAR announced significant safety updates to the next-gen car. These updates are set to debut at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You have any idea what those updates are?
I don't. I hadn't had a chance to watch the video. NASCAR tweeted out a video of the explanation. I don't know what other. I mean, NASCAR, I will give them credit. I love to pick on NASCAR for a lot of different things, but the one thing they have taken very seriously, they had to, but very seriously with it in their cars. And anytime they have a little situation where they can upgrade safety features on the cars, they always seem to do the right thing. My guess is maybe the side impact of the cars, because I'm watching the video now, maybe could it be tougher to cave in the inside of the car? I don't know. I don't know. When we chat with Jeff Owens tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. My good friend, one of the great football coaches in our state, lousy politician, but great football coach, Mike Anthony. He just said that the annotator would wear me out on the golf course. Now, I happen to. He says, I've never seen an 88. Yes, I have. On my way to a 95, I've seen an 88. On my way to a higher score. Coach Anthony, now, he can play some golf. He and his buddies, the Ponderosa in Batesburg.
I don't.
Yeah. That's where he and his group, it's a bunch of guys. I'm quite honest with you. I got to take an invitation to show them my stuff one day. All right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, everybody that joined us tonight. Look forward to tomorrow. We'll see how it plays out here in Gainesville. Wins from Omaha for somebody. We'll see you tomorrow.